This is so sad. I'm so sorry, kids, that you have to experience Pregnant Elsa and not, like, a little pie throwing game from Zach and Cody. Hi, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Vampy Bat. I'll give you a kiss on both cheeks, I guess. Today, we are going through some topics, one topic in particular about minors on the internet, and that might be interesting to you because chances are you are a minor on the internet who is watching this video, and that's probably why you're like interested in my stuff. But before I get into everything, I have been away for a bit, and that is not because of mental health reasons. It's because I got a job that required me to move, and I did that job for like 2 or 3 months, and it was absolutely crazy. But I had 3 months of that, so I had to move there and then move back. And in between moving there and moving back, I had to do the job. So it was a lot, but I should be able to actually be able to make content again, which I was very excited for. But anyways, hi. Okay, so today I just want to get this out of the way. I know that there will be a fair bit of minors watching this video, and that's actually kind of why I wanted to make this video. In case you didn't know, I get age analytics in my my little YouTube studio, and it says that everybody's like over 18 that watches my videos, and I'm just like, that's not true. So yeah, I wanted to make this video because YouTube has been, I won't say lying to me, but not giving me the proper analytics, and I feel like a lot of people can benefit from this video. I'll explain my stance soon, but in general, I do welcome minors here. I try not to do anything that I would find really fucking gross to minors. I don't really care about swearing. I think it's fun when children swear, I'll be honest. But yeah, if you're a kid, welcome to this video. I will be saying the F word. Fuck. Also, this is a very nuanced discussion. Obviously, I've said this in all of my videos, I am not the big top dog who knows all of the information. This is literally just an opinion. I also might not cover everything, and if you do feel so strongly about it, I'd recommend commenting about it. I'm not in a position of authority to change any of this stuff, unfortunately. I'm just some fucking guy, and this is just me talking about something that frustrates me and also like interests me, because obviously I was a kid once. This is coming from a former child. I'm 23 now, but I once was 12 years old. Believe it or not. So this is something that I cared about when I was a kid, and something that I care about now. So for a little bit more background for me, I was on the internet fairly young, but my mom was fairly controlling of what we saw, but I'm gonna be real, having that level of protection still just like wasn't enough, and I saw a bunch of stuff on the internet that I probably should not have. So the internet wasn't safe, even with a helicopter parent. By the way, I love you, Mom. Which begs the question, oh my god, should minors be here at all? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So there is a lot of what I'm going to refer to as NSFW, which means not safe for work. So NSFW basically means anything that if your boss saw you looking at it at work, would get you like fired or like reprimanded. So you can probably guess that there's a fair bit of stuff under that umbrella of NSFW. So that's how I'm going to be referring to that general stuff in this video, to keep it kind of PG. But there's no protections against any NSFW, I'm going to be honest, on the internet. Besides a spoiler, it is mostly up to the kid with what they want to see, which, you know, as a kid, you want to see as much as you can, because you don't know how this stuff like affects you in the future. And kids are very, very curious. They obviously want to see stuff that adults are just like, no, that's not for you. They obviously want to see it. And I had no impulse control on Tumblr before they purged it, which was really bad. There was a lot of awful stuff on there for me to see. And once again, I wanted to see it all. I sought it all out. And it made me feel older, quietly being in these like adult spaces where I should not have been. And frankly, it really like affected me psychologically, not just back then, but now, where I'm just like, oh my god, I let some people like kind of take advantage of me because I wanted to seem like older than I was, and I saw all of these things that like adults were posting, and I was just like, of course I'm gonna be like an adult. And this was when I was like 15. Thank god it wasn't when I was like 9. But I was just like, damn, I would like to seem mature and like that. But like, this is just coming from me, where there was a lot of stuff that I saw that I should not have been seeing. And I think, I'm gonna be so honest, a lot of minors are going through that now, seeing the TikToks that I see, that I know are from minors. And to be frank, it's because they're using like gacha animations and stuff, and I'll probably go through this a little bit later, but they're using what they have, which is their like their gacha like dress up games and stuff, and they're making them NSFW, and that includes like, I'm gonna say like nudity and like gore and stuff. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I hate to be like, where are their parents? But like, they should not be posting this stuff because it attracts actual adults to try and like talk to them. And I'm just like, and I understand where kids come from, where they want to be curious and they want to express themselves in those specific ways, but putting it online, everyone can see it, including really dangerous people. So to get further into what I used to do, so like ages 10 to like, you know what, I would say like, I think I started online when I was like 6-ish, but that was with Webkins. That was webkins.com. And then I was also on this horse website and this website called Chicken Smoothie. And just being so for real right now, all of these sites were moderated with children in mind. And there was nothing, honestly, there was nothing horrible on these websites for me to see. The horse website and like Chicken Smoothie were not just created for like children, there were adults there too, but it was moderated in a way that there wasn't anything fucked up. And it's mostly because they knew that children wanted to be there, and they kept that idea and they put it into their rules, and they actually like enforced it. And when I was on those sites, I don't think I saw a single bad thing. And it wasn't even that I wasn't like seeking it out like I was on these other sites. They were just very quick to be like, no. And if you posted any sort of like even swear words, they'd be like, you just can't post that. And if it was just, there was so little of those things because most adults didn't want children to be exposed to that. And I'm gonna say something kind of controversial, but this kind of like outrage and everything, Twitter and TikTok sees that, you're upset by it, and it makes you stay on their apps longer. And I'll talk a little bit more about like TikTok and Twitter and all and Instagram later, but unfortunately, outrage and I'm just gonna be frank, inappropriate stuff, NSFW stuff, makes you stay on these apps because they don't really have anything to sell you, because they're not based around anything. Like, I'll get into this later, but like Instagram's a photo app, and that's it at its core. Twitter is a text app where you just type things. They don't make money unless people are typing stuff that's interesting or outrageous. Instagram doesn't make money unless the photos that people are posting are outrageous and like get people talking. For something like Chicken Smoothie, Webkins, or that horse website I was on, they had a theme. Webkins were selling the plushies. There was a common interest there. And now TikTok just have videos. What? And it's not like I hope you understand what I mean, because I feel like I'm just going in circles, but they don't have something to sell you. You are their product to sell, and what they want to sell is outrage. So something I want to ask is basically, where the hell have these spaces gone for children? Because I did just like a little bit of like seeking these spaces out. Like, let's say I had a kid and I was looking for somewhere for them to like hang out, or like put them for the day, just to put them on a fucking game, because that's exactly what I would do when I was a kid. And you know, I'm an adult. Obviously I don't talk to kids that much, but I don't know where the hell they hang out online besides social media. And by social media, I mean like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, those types of apps. And the one thing that I do know about is called Gacha Life. So frankly, I don't know too much about it. I've done very surface level like research into it, but I believe it's a dress-up game, and they make their characters, and they make animations out of it, and it's very, very sweet, and an honestly wholesome thing for kids to be doing. I think that it's very cool to get them to like edit their characters and start drawing over top of them, and just find that like creativity in it. However, there is an NSFW side to this that is incredibly easy to access. And I know that because on the very surface level of me trying to figure out what Gacha Life was, these videos were being suggested to me. These NSFW videos of Gacha Life were being suggested to me, who have watched like 3 or 4 videos of them. And I cannot imagine what an 11 or 12-year-old is being recommended if I was being recommended these videos after only watching like a couple of them. There is no moderation. These videos that YouTube should show minors will be interested in should not be allowed to be uploaded on their site, period. If they have very specific titles and they have very specific thumbnails, and I guess it's up to us to report them, but YouTube should have things in place so that they're just like, are you sure? Because this looks like it's something directed towards minors and is inappropriate. And it's very easy to access. So honestly, stuff like this will always exist. I'm not some like Puritan, but it should never, ever be as easy to access as this is. Because, like, once again, I was able to see it. I didn't want to see it. And frankly, I had only been through like a couple of those videos. And YouTube isn't the only evil. Just social media as a whole is a very specific evil that exists. And as well, just remembering, I used to play these games. Where the fuck did single player games go? Because understandable, like social media, like whatever. But I used to just play online games that were single player. I hope they still exist, but I know that the Flash player does not exist anymore. So they can't play those really fun. I had a whole conversation with my partner the other day about the games that we used to play on like the Disney Channel website, and how fun they were and how exciting it was. But they literally are unplayable now because the Flash player doesn't exist. So how are kids playing games other than like on the Switch, which by the way is a paid experience, which is not accessible to all kids. I think most kids, you know what? Mobile games. Hopefully there's good mobile games, but I know that's also not exactly the thing because of Pregnant Elsa, which is its own can of worms. This is so sad. I'm so sorry, kids, that you have to experience Pregnant Elsa and not, like, a little pie throwing game from Zack and Cody. That sucks. Social media, as I said, is a very specific evil where it preys upon these kids and gains popularity through outrage, to be quite honest. And I remember when Twitter and Instagram were incredibly new, and especially Twitter, it was just a place for adults. And honestly, it wasn't very appealing to kids. I specifically remember my mom like posting on like MySpace and stuff, and I was just like, I don't know. Like teenagers, they like were into it, and I was just like, cool. But I never had that like MySpace experience because I never really actually cared that much about it. I cared more about my little mini games and having fun with my friends on webkins.com, which by the way, Webkins had a very specific way of where you could talk to people, where it was, you could choose what you typed. Like, you don't type, you chose from a selected thing. I'll get into that later. But it just wasn't very appealing. But now it is very appealing because literally everybody's on it. Most people have a phone. From my experience with working with kids, some of those kids have phones. And they want social media, they want Instagram, they want Twitter, and these parents like are basically under the assumption of just like, who am I to say no? All of their friends are on it. This is how they communicate with them. And you know what? Like I have my hands up in the air. Like I'm not a parent, so I'm not one to judge. And it's really unfortunate because I see a very good side of having social media if you're a kid, because it opens up so much and it makes you accessible to the entire world and not just the, honestly, like probably shitty little town that you live in. And it's all very important, especially if you're a queer kid. And I'm talking from experience right now. Being honest, it's just like, I need to cut this part out. So being honest, being on social media is almost essential to having friends now, especially when you're a teenager, and finding resources for yourself. Once again, especially if you're queer. So in this sense, I am kind of glad that little gay kids can find friends for themselves. And I'll be so honest, there were no resources for me in real life, and no one IRL that understood what I was going through when I was a teenager and going through that stuff. So having those friends like on my phone and being able to talk through my feelings with them and them being like, I am experiencing exactly that was so cathartic, and it made me feel so much like I wasn't alone and that I wasn't this weird little guy that was just like genuinely like, I'm the first person to ever experience being gay. You know what I mean? Having those connections can be genuinely life-saving for young adults and teenagers. And I wouldn't say the same for like people who are like 10 years old, but I feel like it's essential now because of the shit that everybody is going through and all of the laws that are being put in place to find those connections online. Because unfortunately, if you live in a small shit town, those are few and far between, and it's scary. And just, I had a very hard time on the internet seeing a bunch of stuff that I probably shouldn't have seen, but I also had a very nice time meeting people who were like-minded and were going through the exact same things that I was. And it honestly saved my life. And I want the future generations to experience that side of the internet that is frankly so good at giving resources and information in such a quick time and providing support. If we take away the internet, we also take away the connections that everybody has built. Sorry, not take away the internet, but take away the internet from minors, and potentially could really alienate queer kids in small towns and honestly ruin their lives. It's really scary to think about that, but it's one of those things that has to be considered, is that this is really good for people who are hurting. In that sense, there is no good way to go about this. I suggested better moderation from places like Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, but who decides what's good and what's bad? So looking back, YouTube did a huge purge of content in the name of protecting the kids. If anybody else remembers that, it blocked and banned a lot of queer content and education, and it wasn't anything sexual. You just couldn't say the word lesbian or gay without getting demonetized, and let's see if this video survives. But it was really bad, and I think they called it like the adpocalypse, and a lot of people were losing their jobs. And I'm just gonna be very frank, some of the content deserved to be demonetized because it was very dangerous to keep kids watching, and a lot of it was actually bigoted content that made a lot of I'm just gonna say minors, but it was mostly teenagers. It made a lot of teenagers racist, homophobic, and just in general target minorities quite a lot. And when you're that age, and I can speak from experience, you're just like a sponge where you just like absorb all of this information. And honestly, I think what they thought they were doing was right, but then it did end up affecting the queer community, because you just weren't allowed to say those words anymore. You couldn't say gay, you couldn't talk about being gay, because they were just like, well, if he can't say it in a hateful way, you can't say it in an educational way, which I'm gonna be honest, YouTube really fucked up. And just, it really comes down to who makes those decisions and how do we decide who makes those decisions, because unfortunately it's not going to be as nuanced as we want, and once again they could irreversibly damage something like the queer community, where we aren't allowed to talk about our experiences anymore, and all of it gets like really muddy and just in general fucked up. So unfortunately, I don't know what can be done. Once again, I'm not a lawmaker. However, I can just see that there is a problem. I just wish that like kids and teenagers had a safer space to hang out online, and that they weren't forced to grow up so quickly because they've seen stuff that frankly cannot be unseen. And that's so like cliche. However, that is exactly how I feel about some of the stuff that I've seen online, where it will literally just flash in my head. It's like an intrusive thought where I just remember something that I've seen online as a kid and I'd go, oh my god, what was I doing looking at that? And it was because it was so accessible. And it's really difficult to deal with that as an adult. And I really do wish that that you guys and kids didn't have to grow up so quickly. And I hope that my YouTube channel, at least, you know, besides the swearing, because I honestly don't care about swearing, but it gives you a chance to kind of have a space to exist that isn't about NSFW and isn't about any of that type of stuff, and it's purely just for jokes, and you don't have to see anything super duper gross, etc. Everything sucks. Sorry. They don't have many spaces to go IRL, and adults don't typically want to cater to kids if it doesn't involve money. Like, kids, genuinely, I'm trying to think of like kid-safe spaces that don't involve money, and it's usually just the park. And sometimes that's not even available for kids, because I remember growing up, there was some things around our parks where I would have to leave because it was an unsafe park, and I lived in a very nice area. So I can't imagine a kid trying to go to a park in a kind of unsafe neighborhood, and they literally just can't. At one of my old jobs, there were kids, they would tell me, and they were just like, we can't go to that park because they get abducted there, or they will find needles and stuff. And I'm just like, god damn, the only place that you can hang out is online, or like in your front yard if you have one. I just feel so bad for kids and teenagers, because it feels like such a privilege now to have fun and play in a safe way, and that just that's not right. And I just wish that they weren't exposed to so much awful stuff online, because adults are lazy. And I've had to shift some of what I do, because I know that kids still watch. I honestly don't want that, like, kids as like my main audience, but what the hell am I gonna do? And to bring back something I said in the beginning, YouTube does not tell me the correct analytics. I might show some of it, but it says it's all above 18, and I know that's not the truth. And I know that's not the truth because I can see some of your profiles, and you look like kids, and I read your comments, and you type like kids, and I'm just like, there is no way anybody above the age of 18 is typing like this or talking to me like this. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, I still swear, because honestly I think that's a normal thing for kids to hear. I try to keep most of my humor PG, but once again, I'm an adult. So it's like, it's difficult, and unfortunately YouTube lying to me, being like, haha, it's 18 above 18, and I'm just like, not true. But in general, comment how you feel. I hope you have a wonderful day. Like, comment, subscribe if you like it. I don't know, I'm not your dad. Smooches. Bye.